Well, it's been a shocker of a week on the markets, and to see how Wall Street fared after its Thanksgiving Day break, it's over to Jayne Edwards. Jayne.
Thanks, Alan. Traders returned to Wall Street for a half day of action on Friday, but a positive start ended in disappointment. The Dow, S&P 500 and Nasdaq all closed lower, capping off the worst Thanksgiving week performance for blue chips since the Second World War. While US shoppers flooded to the traditional Black Friday sales, raising hopes of a consumer-led recovery for share markets, the drip feed of bad news out of Europe continued. Italian bond yields jumped again to unsustainable levels, and Belgium was downgraded by ratings agency Standard & Poor's. It underlined fears that the Eurozone debt situation is deteriorating despite efforts to contain it. Those fears will be tested again next week with bond sales from France, Britain, Italy, Belgium and Spain. All the uncertainty has done nothing for the Aussie dollar, which has fallen 3 cents in a week and closed just a touch over 97 US cents. Looking at weekly movements on world markets, there was red ink everywhere, and Europe, not surprisingly, had the worst result. Australia's market also lost another 4%, as Marcus Padley explains.
Well, that wasn't exactly the best week in the markets ever, as sovereign risk passes up the chain from Greece to Germany now, who struggle with a bond issue. We also saw a Chinese PMI number, which was lower than expected, and saw some brokers worrying about BHP and Rio forecasts. It seems the market is low volume and very sensitive at the moment. You get the feeling if Angela Merkel said the wrong 10 words, it would be lights out. 30 stocks in the ASX 200 fell over 10% this week. They included Bluescope Steel, who had a $600 million rights issue at 40 cents and promptly dipped below 40 cents, although they closed the week out at 40 cents. And ERA fell over. They recently had a large rights issue at $1.52. They closed the week at $1.37, everyone underwater. And Gryphon Minerals raised $58.5 million this week and fell over. The only stocks doing okay raising capital are companies issuing notes, including Woolworths, whose notes listed on Friday at a small premium. Other big fallers this week included Billabong, who had a mysterious 13% fall in one day, with some talk that they may go out of the ASX 100 index. Myer had their AGM and said sales were flat and profit is falling. David Jones had quarterly sales numbers down 11%. Their share price fell. Qantas fell as they continue to argue with the unions. Goodman Fielder fell after their AGM, and they told us that they've seen their toughest period in 40 years. IOOF had a bit of a profit warning at their AGM. And White Energy Company has turned from darling to disaster as they continue to have problems with an Indonesian project. 20 stocks in the ASX 200 went up this week. They included Stockland after an investor day which confirmed earnings guidance, Murchison Metals, who sold some joint venture assets, and there are hopes they're going to return that money to shareholders, Centro Retail after a merger with Centro Properties, Foster's after Wayne Swan approved the Saab Miller bid, and finally Thorn Group, a value investor's favourite stock. They had first half profit up 30%. Winner of the week this week was Flinders Mines, up 69% after a Russian takeover. And loser of the week was Bluescope Steel, down 27% after their deeply discounted rights issue.